a school where he wants the property and apparently, possibly, has already made agreements under the table, I would guess. I'm purely guessing. That's the first question. And if he's aware, what does he, you know, this could reflect badly on him. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, do you have any idea when you might be meeting with Governor Cuomo? And will some of our representatives be able to be part of that meeting? It's very important that the people who really know what's going on and what the history has been, who have detailed information, such as Linda, such as Ashton, Matthew, of course, that those folks be in that meeting with the governor, with you.
Or in a meeting.
In a meeting. It's absolutely critical, and I think it has to happen.
I'm not aware. I don't know if they. I'm not sure how much they do, and by they I mean the governor's staff. I can't speak to what the governor specifically knows or doesn't know, or what his staff. I mean, we are talking to them. We are continuing to talk to them. The fact is, the appointment went through. Mr. Ferrara is not resigning. At this time, the governor's staff is not asking him to resign.
But if there's a conflict of interest that reflects badly on them.
But there's nothing. There's nothing that says he has to resign, Sherry.
No, I understand that.
Sherry, I think we have to separate two things. I think we have to separate what has occurred with what we want to occur in the future. And I would think it's more productive to focus what we want to see going forward than sort of dwelling on a past that we can't go back in time and change. As much as I'd like to, as much as you'd like to, as much as we all like to, it's not going to happen right now.
The governor can rescind the appointment.
No, he cannot rescind the appointment. That is not how it works. He was voted in by the Senate. He has a 4-year term. He has a 4-year independent term now, Sherry.
Okay. So the other question is, will the representatives, some of whom are in this room right now, be able to be in that meeting?
Well, again, it depends. I mean,
it's important.
Right. I mean, we've made the request to have a meeting with the governor's people. We haven't gotten any of the details or specifics. Their initial reaction was positive that they would do the meeting. I haven't heard back from them. Damaris is expecting a call from them either later today or early tomorrow morning, and we'll try to get some more details about the parameters within the meeting, and we'll report back to you. I would suggest that in any way, and whether we are able to have this be a really big meeting, or if it turns out that it's just, you know, a few principles, you guys should arm us, or arm me, or my staff with as much background as possible, so that I can go in there with at least certain points that you would all like presented at the table there. Some specific points. It would be very good if you distill it down to some of the main issues.
And Sherry, I think let's be clear here, whether this is a big meeting or a small meeting or just a meeting with Senator Serrano, this is the beginning of a conversation. Everything isn't going to be hashed out in one half-an-hour meeting by any stretch of the imagination. So there will be, you know, whether it happens up front, in the middle, you know, there's going to be plenty of time for community input.
And some of the Kellner has already long begun that dialogue, and it actually started, you know, probably 11 o'clock at night, the night that this all started coming out, and you let Liz Kruger know that there was a controversy around it.
There's a problem though. There are two other board members whose terms are up now. And we're sitting and waiting here. This is like we're in suspended animation. We don't know
We're not going back to session.
which senator is going to talk to the
we're not expected to be back in session. We finished session, so we're not expected to be back in session until January, unless there is a special session that's called. And at this point, I don't know if you've heard anything. I haven't heard any talk, although it's not out of the realm of possibilities. So I think we need to be cautious for that.
I mean, I spoke to the Speaker of my House, and he said enjoy the summer. So I don't expect this back anytime soon.
And just to be cognizant of the time, are you? I want to just check and make sure there's a time constraint.
I think I have time for one more question.
Okay. I'm going to go to Ashley. I saw her hand first.
Well, but they had their hands up.
Okay. Marie?
Yeah. Just looking at the big picture, you're asking us what we want. And obviously, the long term is we want to have a legislation. We want to have some kind of government that is for the people on the island. We want elected representation in whatever government form it is. It could be the elected representation, now mostly resident elected. It could be an incorporated village. It could be whatever it takes to have democracy on this island. This is the long term, and I wish it would happen tomorrow. We should just go and make it happen tomorrow. But we are realistic. We know it's not going to happen. So we have another few action levels. We need, number one, to get this guy off the board. He can do a lot of damage. We all know that. Whatever it takes, we have to sit and figure out how to get him off the board. Whether he resigns, whether there is some, community action to get him to get out. This is on a local, immediate level. We got to get him off the board. Otherwise, we're going to have disaster happening here. Well, wait, let me just finish. And in between this action and the long term, we can have whatever we need to do, the elected 5, 4, 6 elections here and there, till we get the last goal established.
I would just suggest to you that the second thing you said, the getting this individual off the board, is in direct conflict with the overall goal, the long-term goal. And I don't think it does this island, this community, any good to, continue to attack this from that approach that we must remove this person. I think the goal that you said, and what we really need to work out, because the devil is in the details, is how we're going to have representative government on Roosevelt Island. And I think all of the energy, because it's the best place to put that energy, is working towards that end, because then eventually you're going to have a fully representative board once again. And I don't think it does anybody any good to sit there and to continue to dwell on what has occurred. We need to move forward at this point. And I would say, I don't think, if you were to insult me, and then continue to insult me, but at the same time say, but Assemblyman, I need you to sit down and help me. Am I going to be, do you think I'd be willing to help you, Nareed, if you continue? I mean, I don't mind being insulted. I'm a good guy like that. I just don't think that that works in this situation. I don't think we continue, you can say on one hand, we're going to continue to be militant and throw bombs, but at the same time, we want to be treated with respect and sit down and negotiate. If we're going to choose to sit down and negotiate, we're going to choose to sit down and negotiate. But then, that's this community's choice. I mean, we're here to represent this community. If this community continue, if the goal, if the ultimate end is to throw bombs, that can go forward. I just don't think you're going to get the ultimate outcome of representative government that way.
Can I follow up on that, please, Micah?
Micah, it's up to you.
Just